Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today is Friday, and it's time for my weekly update. It's not only Friday, but it's Friday the 13th. I'm really not superstitious, but some people are. I catch just as many fish on the Friday the 13th as any other day. But you know, this is the dog days of summer. One of the problems with this week in particular is the middle of August. It's about the hottest time going, and there's afternoon thunder showers. In fact, there's a big storm coming up the coast right now, and it's going to mess us up for the next couple of days. So we have a lot of wind and weather to consider in all these afternoon thunderstorms. So we're doing a lot of night fishing. And that was kind of cool because last week I talked with you about going with Gerry Brousseau, my tournament partner, Gerry, and also with Barry Maynor, that boy from Decatur, Alabama, I said was such a great night fisherman. And he's caught a couple like 11 and even 10-pound bass on spinnerbaits up there in Lake Wheeler. So anyway, we did some work, and I introduced them, I think, on the on this What's Happening Roland thing last week. But last Friday, after Friday night, we went back to fish again. See, I think it was Wednesday night, we'd gone out and we had killed them. Gerry and Barry and I, we all caught 7-pound bass. It was 5-pound bass. We had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night fishing with spinnerbaits, with buzzbaits, with plastic worms, and it was all really, really a good deal. Well, we go back Friday night after I'd made the Friday night update, and guess what? Nothing. The fish went crazy. They wouldn't bite. And the reason why they wouldn't bite, I think, was off in the distance, and there was a big storm, and every few seconds there was big flashes of light that came through. I think it scared the fish because sometimes it'd be a big flashlight, we'd hear a splash in the water, like, it scared them. Well, anyway, the bass didn't bite. We just had a horrible night. Well, Saturday wasn't much better. We got all ready to go, and we were going to go Saturday night. A big storm came. We couldn't go Saturday night. So Sunday morning, we get up early, go to this lake that we'd done that work with. And a couple weeks ago, I remember we did a YouTube on that active target by Lawrence. We were up at Gerry Brousseau's place up at Lake Placid, and we'd take the active target unit, this was a couple weeks ago, and we'd actually spot the fish. And I took a spinnerbait in that particular episode and picked off some of these 4 and 5 pounders that were swimming around that we saw. Well, Sunday morning, this last Sunday, we introduced Barry to that active target as well, and so we did the same thing on that same lake, in fact. And again, Gerry would run his boat. He'd take that active target, he'd sweep the transducer around until we'd see a ball of bait or maybe even some fish. Usually we'd see the ball of bait and a couple fish would be kind of nearby. Anyway, we'd target him. We'd say, okay, 35 feet right over to the right. We would take our chatterbait. White chatterbait worked. We'd take a regular plastic worm. It worked. We took a regular spinnerbait. It worked. We took 2 or 3 things, and we caught some 4 and 5 pound bass right just looking at the active target. So that was really, really a big deal to do that because the active target is such a cool way of fishing right now. Well, that was the daytime. But again, the night fishing is the big challenge right now. Let me just show you something. I'm going to go over to my table and just kind of show you what I'm doing right now. And you know, I've had a television show for 45 years, since 1974, I think it was. Anyway, I've had a lot of years on television, and this year has been a challenge. The problem with this year, with the COVID and all, is that a lot of times we'd plan a big trip to Canada. Well, they closed the borders. A lot of times we'd plan a trip to Minnesota, and they closed all that down for me, and all the contacts were either sick or they couldn't get the help to run the lodges. All these kind of things happened. So we ended up fishing a lot of small waters. I took my canoe, for example. I took my little John boat, my 15-foot John boat, my 1542 that's so good. And I took my little Heritage tracker. The little Heritage is a really cool boat with a little 40 horsepower motor on it. Took it a lot of places. But I also did get a chance to get up in some of the film work. I did get up to New York. That was one thing that we did do. In fact, here's a Wilt Clute right now, if you notice what's going on here.
Folks, on today's episode of Guiding with Jimmy.
He's with Jimmy Houston right now. There's Jimmy. There's Jimmy. And we're filming up there in New York, and he's in his little tracker, and then there's me. I'm running this guy's nitro up there, and we're catching smallmouth, and we're just having a big time. And I'm editing that film together. Well, you don't realize how much work is involved here. To put together one film, it's just not a simple thing. Let's just take, for example, this night fishing thing. I put together 3 episodes, some of which you might have seen 1 or 2 of them on YouTube. But anyway, I got an episode 3 different nights. Then I have to I have this green screen. What the green screen is the thing I set up in the shop. It's a big green thing in the back, and I'll sit on a little stool, and the camera will come on, and I'll go through these different episodes that I have on tape, and I'll make comments about a big fish that I caught. I got an alligator at one point, and Gerry catches a big 7, and Gerry catches another big one, and I'll make comments about what we're using and what we're doing, and I'll tie it all together with the green screen. I'll tie it all together with me sitting there talking about the different episodes. Well, that takes several hours. This took 3 days to do. And then we sent it up to Canada, and I get this group called Pine Post Productions, Angelo Viola. He's got a show called Fishing Canada. It's the most successful show in Canada. But anyway, he does my editing. It's thousands and thousands of dollars. It's weeks of editing. It's actually 3 or 4 days of just doing this part of it, and another 3 or 4 or 5 days of just solid editing. Each television show that you see represents a ton of money because there's a lot of people involved, and it's just a lot of work. It's not like this YouTube. The YouTube is one thing. Regular television is a whole different ballgame. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Just this year alone, let's just talk about some of the things we got going. Let's talk about, real quick, see, segments. That's the segments for the show. Let me look at what these shows are. Okay, here's one. Show number 4, Top Order Time. I went 2 different places, the Whopper Plopper deal, and I did a deal with the new, I don't know, new Spro stuff, and there's a whole bunch of chips in there. See how many chips there are? There's 5 or 6 chips there. I got to go through every one of them, do the green screen. That's just one episode. Okay, I told you about the night fishing. Here's bank fishing. Big Florida bass. Okay, segment 1, ABC's of bank fishing from a very successful YouTube. Okay, segment 2, bank fishing, the Everglades. And then I even have a 3rd segment that I haven't put in there yet. I was bank fishing on some of the places in central Missouri with my good friend Ronnie Curry. Again, I have to sit on the green screen, make comments about all the fish that were getting caught. And again, we were talking about 3 different days of fishing, another day of editing, another, I don't know, it's just an immense amount of work, and that's kind of what's going on right now. A 4th show 6 is pitching and flipping. Well, part of the pitching and flipping I did in Missouri in a big timbered lake, and we caught. I was just catching them. Like at one time, I got into a school of fish and caught like 4 or 5 in a row. And then the other part was here in Florida, showing how to punch really big, heavy hyacinths in heavy cover situations. So that's kind of what's happening with my show. I've spent the whole week that I didn't fish just doing this little bit of stuff right here. And I'll spend another whole week, probably 2 more weeks, before I'm ready to send these 6 shows out. And I'll get 6 shows sent to Canada by the 1st of September, and they'll edit all those by the 1st of the year, and you'll start seeing them on the 1st of the year. But by the 1st of the year, I'll have to have had all the other ones done, so I have a 13-week series. And I have all the footage, or most of the footage. We still have yet to go to a place like Venice, Louisiana. I plan on maybe a big redfish trip there. I'm going to try to get back up to maybe Bienville Plantation, some of those big bass up in northern Florida. That's just maybe on the wish list of things to do. There's some really good fishing in the Keys. My son has his new 42-foot Freeman boat. He said, Dad, we got to go down to the Bahamas, and we got to go down to the Keys, and we got to do all this offshore fishing. And so maybe I'll do some of that. But anyway, I've always had my ear to the listening board. I'm always listening for the very best fishing I can do, the most exciting fishing, the most current fishing I can do. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, just getting ready for this upcoming season. My 45th year, I think, in television. Anyway, I love it. I love it to death. And I know you guys and girls out there, you've been supporting my YouTube so well. I'm an old school teacher at heart, and you know that. And I used to, and I was in the military and all sorts of things like that. So it's just a lot of fun for me to instruct people and kind of pass on what I know about fishing, and that's kind of my forte. That's my main goal with all the film work that you see me doing right now. More of a how-to format. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and so we'll see you again soon.